Hello friends, it's Barbara from Wigs and Fluff. Hope you're doing well today. Now today I wanted to talk to you a little about encouragement for wig loss. Now today I have on the Alex by Paula Young in light blonde. Now this one, it might qualify as a fakey looking wig. What do you think? Do you think it looks normal? Do you think it looks natural? Do you think it looks real? Or do you think this looks like fake hair? This one's almost all one color, as you can see. Almost all one color. And when that happens, when there's no colors in there, then that helps. That kind of speaks for itself and makes the wig look fakey. So this might qualify as a fakey looking wig, but it's a cute hairdo. It pops out at the side, which I like. It has a little bit of height on the top and some fluffy bangs, which I really enjoy. So anyways, I wanted to encourage you today, if you're suffering hair loss like me. Number one, do not be discouraged. It isn't the end of the world. It isn't the end of the world. There's a whole other world waiting to open up for you if you will just explore it, and that's the world of wigs. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be embarrassed. If you're new to wig wearing, go someplace different, like 5 miles up the road where people don't know you, and wear it around. Go shopping up that way and wear it around some. Do that 2 or 3 times until you get used to wearing it. Go up there and have lunch. Go up there and have dinner. Go up there and just walk around with it before you even put it on in front of your family. Go out in front of people that you don't know and see what the reaction is. And my guess is they're not even going to blink their eyes. They'll have no reaction at all. They won't even realize that you're wearing a wig. So number 2, don't be discouraged. I know you've tried this and that and the other, all kinds of hair oils like me. I've tried everything there is. And I can't use that hair growth product that they sell in the grocery stores. I can't use that. It breaks my face out. I tried using that. It breaks my face out to the point that I have to go to the dermatologist and use some heavy-duty cream to get it under control. So that's just not worth it. I'm not doing that. So anyways, don't be discouraged, because you may have blotches of hair missing, like me, back here and different places. Don't be embarrassed. Don't go around with a hat on your head, scared that somebody's going to see you. Don't do that to yourself. Don't hide, because there is the world of wigs, and you will enjoy it if you embrace it. You'll have a great time. You'll have a great time. Set yourself an amount of money that you're going to be willing to spend on yourself. And I would say $150 to start. Now, I started out with $20 wigs because I wasn't really sure how I was going to react to it. So I started out with some cheaper ones. Maybe you want to go that way too. I don't know. I wanted to go in a little at a time. So that's what I did, a little bit at a time. And I bought the Dolly and I bought Old Red. And I wore those in a place that's outside of where I normally shop. And nobody said a word. In fact, when I wore both of them, I got compliments on, but when I wore Old Red once to church, the lady behind me said, "Your hair is beautiful today. What did you do to it?" So you will get compliments on your hair. Compliments that you haven't heard in years. That's what I experienced. And so little by little, I started wearing wigs more and more, and then right in the community where I lived. And nobody said anything. Nobody knew the difference. Nobody really cared. So number 2, don't become discouraged. Number 1, it isn't the end of the world. Number 2, don't become discouraged. And number 3, open yourself up to wearing wigs. Open yourself up to that possibility. If you want to, go find a wig retailer somewhere where there's lots of wigs around and you can try different ones on to see what you think. They will charge you a little bit more, and you won't find the $20 variety there. They just don't sell those. My suggestion is you go online. Amazon would be a good first choice place to start. And go through and look at the Raquel Welch wigs. Go look at the Eva Gabor wigs, the Paula Young wigs. Go through all of them and see if there isn't a wig that you think might look good on your face shape. Whether you're square-faced, whether you're heart-shaped, whether you're oval, whatever it is. And remember, there is no one perfect face shape. All faces are different. So there's all kinds of round faces, all kinds of square, there's all kinds of faces. And every celebrity in the world has a face shape like yours. There's one of them somewhere sitting in Hollywood. If you're a square, there's tons of square face shapes in Hollywood. So don't let that discourage you. There isn't one perfect face shape. It can be, your face can be enhanced, and you can look a whole lot better if you had hair that worked, that looks good on you, that's cute. Try to stay away from the long ones if you can, unless that's just your hairstyle and you don't feel comfortable doing anything else. Do yourself a favor in that case. Get 2. Find a short one and get your long one. That's what you need. If that's what's going to make you feel better, is having your long hair. I have one long hair wig, the Always, and I keep that one because it's beautiful curls that come down, and sometimes I like to wear a side ponytail and sometimes I like to put it up in a bun, and that way I can still do that. So number 3, open yourself up to the world of wigs. Set yourself an amount of money that you're willing to invest in yourself to make you feel better about your hair loss. I would say $150. But if you want to start with a $20 wig like me and take your luck, you can. You might not find one that suits you. I just want to warn you, not every $20 wig is a dolly. Not every $20 wig is an old red that just looks good. No. But if you want to take a chance, I would say start with like a $150 wig, somewhere in that neighborhood, $150 to $160, if you can afford it. And try just one. And see how it works for you. Make sure you get one that works with the shape of your face. Go back and look at those videos I did. Look on the internet and explore other videos about face shape. And you'll get the idea, and you'll be informed and educated about what will look good on you. So everybody can look good. Everybody can have something that is attractive in a hairdo. So it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of money to invest, and you can defeat the hair loss thing. I know I have. And I don't even think about it anymore. I do try to keep my hair long. I know some other creators have their hair shaved. I could do that. But then I would have to use something like glue to keep it on. And I don't want to do that. Or tape. And I don't want to do that. So I kind of like my little straggly strands that I've got. And I just put them in a bun and put bobby pins in and secure it. And that kind of acts like an anchor for the bottom of the wig so it doesn't ride up so much. Because it's got that little scraggly bun I made, and it just kind of secures it in place. And that could be the reason why my wigs don't fly off. It's like my own hair. These are just like my own hair. And I do not wear a wig cap because I tend to get migraines. And especially right here at the base of my neck. And I don't want to go through that. If I just wear them with my bio hair and my little bun, I'm fine all day long. I can wear a wig all day long with no itch, no problem, and no discomfort. No migraines at all. If I put those hair bands on, I'll get a migraine just about every time. You can get those hair bands that will secure your wig in place, if that's what you like. If you want to use tape or glue, that's up to you. But I don't use any of that stuff. And I don't recommend it. At least not at the stage of hair loss that I'm in. I know that some people have cut their hair really, really short or just shaved it because they had probably had so many bald spots like me. I've got a lot of them. But as long as I can have it, I'm going to keep my hair shoulder length so that I can just put it up into a little bun and secure it, and I think that helps me. I think it does. I thought about shaving my head, thought about it. But then I thought, well, then I'll lose the bun back here. That kind of keeps everything secure, and I'll probably end up having to tape my head down. And I don't want to do that. So those are some things to think about. So now today's story is a story about a character that you probably already know in the Bible, but you may have not known the rest of her story. This is the story of Miriam. Now, Miriam was Moses' sister. And you remember that Moses led the people of Israel out of Egypt. Finally, the Pharaoh said, just take them and go. And Moses did. He led the people right out of Egypt. You remember that story. Well, when you back it up, you remember that Miriam was Moses' sister, and she was about 10 years old when she put her brother in the Nile River and floated him down to where the Pharaoh's daughter could find him. And sure enough, that Moses was a cute little baby, and he was laughing and cooing, and the Pharaoh's daughter just fell in love with him and wanted to raise him as her own son because she didn't have a son. And Miriam went out and said, I know just the Israeli woman who can nurse that baby for you. And it was, of course, Moses' mother, her mother. And so that's what happened. So Moses' mother got to nurse him and take care of him and help raise him in the palace. Now, to go on with Miriam's life, she never married. She was single her whole life. She was just somebody who was a single person. Nothing, no shade, just the way that God made her. She wanted to be a single person. She was also a slave in the land of Egypt before Moses came back. She was a slave like her mother and like her father. She was a slave, and she worked hard every day. That's what she did. And she was overjoyed when Moses came back to tell the Pharaoh, let my people go. She was overjoyed, and she thought, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord God in heaven, that you have sent my brother Moses back to save his people. And sure enough, the Pharaoh said, just take him and go. And Miriam was the one who went around to all the Israeli camps and made sure that everyone was ready, that everyone had their items together and had somehow procured or bought more gold, more silver, gems, whatever they could afford. And that's what they did. And they got all of those things because they were going to need those. They were going to need those things. So they got all of these things together. They packed up the mules and the donkeys, and off they went, escaping the Pharaoh. And Miriam helped in that. She was a helper of Moses, and she worked real hard. She was a hard worker. She got down to the Red Sea, and she was the one that helped the people, motioning them across, getting them across when God opened up the sea and they went across on dry land. She was the one that stood there and herded people across. And when she got to the other side, and the waves crashed down on the Egyptians. She is the one who broke out and danced and sing with tambourines and songs. Thank you, Lord God in heaven. Thank you. You have saved us. You have saved us. And she had a whole song. I think Moses has wrote the song with her, and she just broke out into music and dancing and singing. And she was just tambourines, and she was just so excited what God had done for the Israeli people. So excited and so blessed by it. And she was an encourager in the camp. And she went around making sure that everybody had their food and water, and that everybody had the supplies that she needed. She was a worker. She was a helper to Moses. But she had a little problem. Her problem was she began to get an attitude with Moses like everybody else. I think what happened was that she heard the murmuring and the complaining, and she didn't know how to respond to it, and it got next to her, and she just, I don't know, it got a part of her. It got a hold of her. The murmuring and the complaining got a hold of her as well. And she began to complain against Moses and criticize him. And she even criticized who he was married to, because it wasn't an Israeli woman. It was a foreigner. And that could have been part of her problem, that she was a little bit opposed to who Moses had married, bringing a foreigner into the family like that. Well, God looked down on her, and he struck her with leprosy. Miriam, the hard worker, the one who danced on the banks of the Red Sea, because of her critical nature, God gave her leprosy, and Moses had to take her outside the camp for the sake of the Israeli people, because leprosy is so contagious. And there she sat by herself. Now, as you recall, Moses' brother Aaron had a few things that he did wrong too. You remember the whole issue with the golden calf. But God didn't give him leprosy. God forgave him. And when Moses prayed and asked God to forgive Miriam, he did. He took away the leprosy, and she was healed, and she rejoined the camp. And she was like 80, 90 years old by this time. She was an old woman, and she finally died. But she did so well her whole life. She was such a hard worker. She was such a good spirit, had such faith in God. But she let the murmuring around her get to her. She didn't know how to answer them. She wasn't prepared. She didn't have a good answer for this murmuring that she heard, because it was her job to go around into the camps and see that everybody had what they needed. And when she heard this murmuring, she didn't know what to do, and it just got inside her. So that's a lesson we can learn from Miriam. You can have a whole life of serving God and make a terrible mistake and be put outside God's will for your life, like she was put outside the camp. And Moses was the one who prayed for her and asked that the Lord would forgive her. Even though she came against Moses himself, he prayed for his sister. He loved his sister. His sister saved his life. And so he was saving her life. And he did. And God healed her, and she was brought back into the camp. And she did die there eventually. So this is the story of Miriam. Miriam is a good-hearted person who worked hard all her life. And she loved God. And she loved God when she died. She made a mistake, like all of us do sometimes. But she took her correction. And Moses prayed for her. So I hope you like this story. I hope you enjoy this series about women in the Bible. Does God use women? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He used Miriam in a time where she was needed. And I think that's the reason she never married, is because she was needed among the slaves. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the story. I'll see you tomorrow with another one.